It may surprise many that reheating some foods can have a hidden negative impact on health, especially in older age. This can lead to weakened digestion, increased inflammation, and even subtle impairment of cognitive functions and coordination. These risks are supported by scientific studies published in reputable journals, which examine the long-term effects of consuming reheated food on the bodies of older adults. At first glance, reheating leftover food seems harmless enough. However, some common dishes, when subjected to repeated heat treatment, lose their nutrients or transform into compounds that place additional stress on the cardiovascular system, blood glucose levels, and joints. Key systems that support vitality and independence after age 65. Next, we will discuss 3 foods that are not recommended for reheating by the elderly, as well as 3 foods that, on the contrary, become more beneficial when heated correctly. Let's start with those foods that can and should be reheated. After all, with the right approach, they will support energy, memory, and mobility every day. First, oatmeal. A warm embrace for the mind and gut. For older adults who have entered a period of maturity, the morning is often filled with a quiet inner strength, an opportunity to start the day anew. And few foods so subtly reflect this philosophy as a bowl of warm oatmeal. However, few people realize that reheating oatmeal not only does not deprive it of its beneficial properties, but also increases its benefits, especially for the elderly who need nutrition without extra burden. When oats are cooked and then cooled, a special transformation takes place. The structure of the starches changes, forming so-called resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that is resistant to digestion in the small intestine. Upon reheating, this resistant starch remains unchanged and becomes food for beneficial gut bacteria, helping to strengthen digestion, stabilize blood sugar levels, and reduce inflammatory processes throughout the body. This is not just a scientific fact, but also very practical for people over 65. With age, digestion slows down, and blood sugar levels become less stable. Reheated oatmeal is a stable source of energy with a low glycemic index, which does not cause sudden spikes in blood sugar, but provides a slow and even release of energy, supporting satiety, mood, and concentration. But the benefits of oatmeal are not limited to this. It contains beta-glucan, a soluble fiber known for its ability to support heart health, lower blood sugar levels, and reduce bad LDL cholesterol. For older adults at risk of cardiovascular disease, this habit becomes a quiet and effective way to prevent it. Unlike many breakfast foods offered, which are full of sugar and unhealthy fats, oatmeal is a naturally balanced dish. It has a mild taste, is easily digestible, and combines perfectly with various additives to suit personal preferences. Adding a pinch of cinnamon, a handful of chopped walnuts, or fresh blueberries not only enriches the taste, but also saturates the body with powerful antioxidants that help slow down the processes of cellular aging. Warm oatmeal, heated to a comfortable temperature, also gives a feeling of emotional well-being. This dish, familiar from childhood, is easily digested and creates a sense of peace and stability. On a cold morning or during a period of decline in strength, oatmeal becomes not just food, but a manifestation of self-care, reminding us that even minor everyday rituals can contribute to the formation of a healthier lifestyle. However, there is an important aspect that is often overlooked. While oatmeal has a beneficial effect on the body, not all reheated dishes have similar beneficial properties. Some foods, seemingly harmless and familiar, can subtly harm health when reheated, negatively affecting the condition of the joints, nervous system, and reducing overall vitality. The question arises, which dish should be reheated next? One that strengthens the immune system and promotes bone tissue regeneration with each new sip. Perhaps the answer is already in the refrigerator, waiting for its hour to turn into a source of health and vitality again. As such a dish, one can single out vegetable soup, which is a mild medicine for the joints, immune system, and peace of mind. In the quiet hours when the body feels tired and soft light penetrates through the windows, a plate of warm vegetable soup has healing power. This isn't just familiar food, but an embodiment of generations of wisdom, carefully passed down in every spoonful. For older adults facing age-related changes in their bodies, warming up vegetable soup is not only convenient, but also a way to revitalize valuable nutrients that become even more beneficial and effective over time. Unlike many processed foods, homemade vegetable soup only gets better the next day. Why? During the slow simmering and subsequent steeping of dense vegetables like carrots, celery, onions, leafy greens, and sweet potatoes, their cell walls break down, releasing minerals and plant compounds that didn't fully unlock their potential during the initial cooking. Upon reheating, the broth transforms into a concentrated source of antioxidants, phytonutrients, and moisture, three components particularly important for seniors. As we age, the immune system weakens, and the body becomes more susceptible to inflammation, respiratory infections, and joint stiffness. Vegetable soup, especially when prepared with garlic, turmeric, or parsley, becomes a gentle and effective defense. Its warmth stimulates circulation, dilates blood vessels, and warms the extremities, while anti-inflammatory compounds begin their healing action from within. For elderly individuals struggling with loss of appetite, soup becomes a simple and easily digestible meal that doesn't overwhelm the senses. Its tender consistency and warmth nourish without requiring much effort, helping to conserve strength, maintain hydration, and provide the body with essential nutrients even on days when eating seems difficult. It's also important to note the emotional component. A hot bowl of soup, lovingly prepared and warmed with special care, is like a trip down memory lane, reminding us of family gatherings and carefree times when food was more than just a source of energy. Each spoonful of this dish is a return to a cozy and safe place, an opportunity to escape from worldly worries and care for oneself in the simplest and most natural way. For older adults dealing with high blood pressure, arthritis, or digestive issues, soup becomes a salvation, allowing them to enrich their diet with medicinal herbs and mineral-rich vegetables, while avoiding harsh spices and excessive fats. It's nutrition that perfectly adapts to the body's changing needs, gentle, warming, and soothing. But what if we imagine that ordinary grains, modestly served alongside a bowl of soup, can subtly strengthen bones and support heart health, especially when reheated correctly? This product, often underestimated by older adults, can become a reliable ally in the fight against bodily frailty when skillfully re-prepared. We're talking about brown rice, a quiet foundation of strength, heart health, and longevity. There's a special wisdom in the simplicity of food, quiet, fundamental, and unwavering. Among the multitude of dishes, brown rice stands out modestly, inconspicuous against the backdrop of more vibrant culinary delights. However, for the elderly, this unremarkable grain, delicately reheated, can offer something far more than just gastronomic pleasure. It provides structure, stability, and slowly released energy, supporting every heartbeat, every step, and every moment of independence. Unlike white rice, brown rice retains its bran and germ, which are rich in fiber, B vitamins, magnesium, and selenium, substances that the aging body particularly needs. After cooking and cooling, brown rice develops resistant starch, similar to what happens with oatmeal, but its true magic is revealed upon reheating. With the right approach, gentle steaming or light warming with a little water, these complex carbohydrates become particularly easy to digest, providing the body with energy gradually and evenly, without overloading the pancreas or causing sharp spikes in blood sugar levels. This is of immense importance for older adults suffering from type 2 diabetes, heart disease, or slowed digestion. Reheated brown rice helps maintain stable energy levels throughout the day, preventing the dips in strength and fatigue that so often cloud daily life. It also supports a healthy gut microbiome, nourishing the beneficial bacteria that regulate immunity, mood, and inflammatory processes. Magnesium, a deficiency of which is often observed in older adults, is found in significant amounts in brown rice. This element plays an important role in the functioning of the nervous system, blood pressure control, and muscle relaxation, especially at night when leg cramps and anxiety can disrupt sleep. Each serving of reheated rice becomes not just a meal, but a contribution to strengthening the body from within. Don't forget about the emotional component of rice, its connection to comfort, family meals, and the smell of something familiar and dear. Reheating leftover rice is not just convenience. It's a return to the usual rhythm of life, a manifestation of care, quietly reminding the body, you are still strong, you continue to live, you are still cared for. And the most wonderful thing is that brown rice easily fits into the culinary capabilities of an elderly person. Add soft vegetables, lentils, or a little olive oil to it, and you get a nutritious, easy-to-chew and digestible dish that brings deep satisfaction. In the culinary world, where complex recipes may seem like an impossible task, brown rice acts as a reliable and versatile base, serving as a literal and symbolic foundation for maintaining health in old age. However, despite the fact that brown rice gradually and surely strengthens the body, not all dishes retain their beneficial properties after reheating. Some popular culinary creations, subjected to secondary heat treatment, can subtly harm the organs that previously brought pleasure. The question arises, is the next portion of food sent to the microwave oven a hidden threat to the heart, nervous system, and even memory? The information presented below can forever change the attitude to leftovers. There are 3 products that are not recommended to be reheated, especially for the elderly. The first of these is cooked mushrooms, a hidden danger that lurks behind their external appeal. There is something special about mushrooms, their connection to the earth, their nutritional value, and their rich taste. This food connects a person with nature, with something ancient and fundamental. Many elderly people consider mushrooms to be an exceptionally healthy product because they contain little fat, are rich in antioxidants, and are easily digested when freshly prepared. However, behind their delicate texture lies a little-known truth. Reheating cooked mushrooms can imperceptibly turn a healthy dish into a health threat, especially with age, when the body becomes more susceptible. Mushrooms are rich in complex proteins and amino acids, which are beneficial as long as the mushrooms are fresh. These substances have a delicate structure and are easily destroyed by high temperatures. During the first heat treatment, proteins change their structure, which makes them easier to digest. However, after cooling and reheating, these same proteins can undergo secondary denaturation, forming compounds that the body is no longer able to effectively absorb. A young person may not notice such changes, but for an elderly person with a weakened enzymatic system and increased intestinal sensitivity, this can lead to discomfort, bloating, and even nausea. The main danger is that the negative consequences often do not appear immediately. Improper storage or reheating at low temperatures creates a favorable environment for the reproduction of bacteria, especially in mushrooms fried in oil and left at room temperature for a long time. These bacteria do not always cause obvious symptoms, but their destructive activity can begin imperceptibly, leading to disorders in the digestive tract and even affecting the nervous system of the elderly. The price of this seemingly insignificant error does not always manifest itself in immediate pain or illness, but has a cumulative effect. It can be expressed in constant fatigue, chronic indigestion, or unpleasant sensations that overshadow everyday life, depriving you of the opportunity to enjoy peace. The immune defense may also weaken during that period of life, when every health resource is of particular importance. Among other things, mushrooms lose a significant portion of their nutritional value when reheated. Antioxidants, which previously served as a reliable support for the immune system, gradually lose their strength, practically providing no protection against inflammatory processes and oxidative stress, which unfortunately increase with age. As a result, a familiar dish that once brought benefits is now practically useless to the body. The habit of reheating mushrooms may seem harmless, especially in today's world, where convenience is valued above all else. However, elderly people seeking to maintain their health, cognitive function, and physical activity should abandon this habit. Let mushrooms remain a valuable gift of nature, enjoyed fresh, when they are at the peak of their benefits, and not in the form of leftovers that have been lying on the stove, or in the microwave for too long. But what about another frequent guest in the kitchen? The crunchy, bright, and generally considered safe vegetable. What if that seemingly harmless product is subtly contributing to joint inflammation and undermining the stability of your movements? The answer may surprise many. Eggs are another food that can subtly transition from beneficial to harmful. Eggs are often perceived as one of the most complete and beneficial foods. They symbolize simplicity, harmony, and nutrition, being an integral part of breakfast for many generations. Eggs are especially important for the elderly, as they contain high-quality protein and essential nutrients such as choline and vitamin D, which are necessary for brain health and bone strengthening. However, there is a little-known truth lurking here. When reheated, the properties of eggs change, and not for the better. Freshly cooked eggs are safe, easily digestible, and very nutritious. But if you let them cool and sit even for one night, their proteins begin to transform, which can negatively affect the aging digestive tract. Reheating eggs, especially in the microwave or on a hot skillet, leads to redensification and changes in the protein structure, which makes them much harder to digest and often causes bloating, discomfort, or upset stomach in the elderly. Even more concerning is the formation of potentially harmful compounds. When eggs are reheated, especially fried or cooked with oil, fats and cholesterol can oxidize, forming substances that contribute to inflammation and vascular damage. These are not just theoretical risks, but real biological threats, especially for the elderly who already suffer from high cholesterol, hypertension, or cardiovascular disease. The price to pay for this is not always felt immediately. It can manifest as unpleasant sensations in the stomach that persist throughout the day, lethargy that slows down movements, or confusion that interferes with clear thinking. Over time, these consequences accumulate, leading to impaired digestion, chronic inflammation, and a gradual increase in cholesterol levels. And all this can be subtly caused by the simple habit of reheating yesterday's eggs. It would seem, what could be harmless in reheating eggs? However, for an organism that needs careful treatment, this becomes an unnecessary burden. Nutrients designed to protect the brain and strengthen muscles with such careless handling can turn against you. There are safer ways to enjoy this food. Consume eggs immediately after cooking to get the most benefit. Freshly boiled or poached, they will bring great benefits if eaten immediately. Do not succumb to the temptation to postpone them for later, because such a convenient solution can subtly undermine your vitality with each reheated dish. Eggs are not the only familiar product with hidden consequences when reheated. There is another American cuisine favorite that carries even greater risk. The soft, warm, and familiar taste may remind you of the past, but behind the golden crust lies a trap for metabolism, capable of weakening legs, slowing down the heart, and clouding the mind. Learn this truth before you take the next bite. We are talking about white potatoes, a comfort food that can quietly harm. For many elderly people, this product evokes warm memories. Family dinners, weekend gatherings, festive feasts with favorite mashed potatoes. It is soft, familiar, and deeply rooted. In American culture, however, for the elderly seeking to maintain heart health, circulation, and coordination, reheating potatoes can turn a favorite dish into a hidden threat. Freshly cooked white potatoes already have a high glycemic index, which means a rapid breakdown to sugars and a sharp spike in blood glucose levels. But when potatoes are boiled, cooled, and then reheated again, especially with the addition of oil, cream, or fat, their starch structure undergoes changes. Instead of benefiting the body, such a transformation can increase insulin resistance and cause inflammatory reactions, affecting blood vessels, nerves, and even the brain. With age, the body naturally loses sensitivity to changes in blood sugar levels. Reheated potatoes can cause fatigue after eating, numbness in the legs and feet, and trigger chronic inflammation associated with joint problems and cognitive decline. Many elderly people mechanically reheat potato dishes in plastic containers, unaware that high temperatures can release harmful chemicals into the food. As a result, A plate of leftovers that seemed harmless can cause much more harm to the body than it seems at first glance. The price you pay for this may seem imperceptible, but in reality, it is quite tangible. Perhaps you find yourself feeling more tired after lunch, unaware that reheated potatoes are to blame. Maybe you notice increased stiffness in your knees or tingling in your feet, dismissing it as age, without seeing the real cause on your plate. Over time, these minor daily effects accumulate, impairing circulation, raising blood pressure, reducing muscle tone, and slowing reaction times. The recovery process after illnesses or injuries is paramount for maintaining health. Unfortunately, ordinary white potatoes lack the protective properties the body needs during this period. Unlike sweet potatoes and other brightly colored root vegetables, they contain insignificant amounts of antioxidants to counteract their potentially negative effects. They create a feeling of fullness, but do not strengthen the body. Instead, they merely satisfy taste preferences while placing a hidden burden on organ systems that particularly need support in old age. The warmth of memories and traditional habits are certainly important, but as the years pass, it's necessary to distinguish between emotional satisfaction and nutritional safety. Make conscious choices in favor of foods that benefit your health. Perhaps it's time to leave potatoes in the past, excluding them from your diet. Reflecting on the hidden dangers that may lurk in leftover food, one realizes that not all items from the refrigerator deserve to be reheated. How can older adults regain control over their diet, restore energy, and strengthen their independence by making more informed choices in favor of healthy foods? The answer lies not in fear, but in gradual, conscious steps toward self-care. Every meal represents a choice. Respect your health by choosing beneficial foods, as the decisions made at the dinner table become increasingly important with age. Reheating food may seem like a minor and habitual action, but for older adults, it has a subtle yet significant impact on their health, energy levels, and ability to lead an independent lifestyle. Understanding which foods are not recommended for reheating, and which, on the contrary, are beneficial when prepared correctly, is not just a set of nutritional guidelines, but a manifestation of respect for your body. The truth is that healthy aging does not require abrupt and radical changes. It is formed through small but consistent decisions. It's important to pay attention to how we handle leftover food, how we care for our digestion, and how we protect our heart, brain, and legs with each meal. When a person reheats beneficial foods, such as oatmeal, nutritious soups, or brown rice, they are not just filling their stomach, but sending their body an important signal. I care about you and choose life. And by giving up habits that no longer benefit health, such as no longer reheating eggs, mushrooms, or white potatoes, one takes another step towards freedom and well-being. In old age, the desire for freedom from discomfort, fatigue, and annoying health problems that can cloud the joy of life is particularly acute. The perceived convenience of the modern lifestyle comes at a price, and this price, while not always immediately apparent, can have long-term consequences. At the same time, a conscious approach to one's health is richly rewarded. Digestion improves, movements become more confident, thinking becomes clearer, and, perhaps most importantly, a sense of control over one's well-being emerges, regardless of age. Therefore, when opening the refrigerator door tomorrow, remember that not all products deserve to be on the plate. Prefer food that truly nourishes the body and brings benefits. When reheating food, do it consciously, understanding what exactly enters the body. This period of life deserves respect and attention, filling it with the quiet strength that comes from wisdom, not from fleeting impulses. Ultimately, each warm meal is not just a satisfaction of the need for comfort. It is a personal choice. It is a choice in favor of protecting one's future, which is made with each new piece of food.